Darnold looks, fires inside, ball is caught, touchdown, Seahawks!
Second with an RBI double, and the Mariners have the lead.
2 sports, 2 teams, 1 podcast. Welcome to the 12th Inning Podcast. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of the 12th Inning Podcast. My name is Rich. I'm joined here by my buddy Mitch. So, we are going to be talking about the Seahawks game versus the Jaguars. They did win. And then looking ahead at their game versus the Houston Texans. That'll be interesting. And then, of course, looking at our power rankings like we always do. Then we will move on into our MLB section. There's a lot to cover over the Seattle Mariners. So, stick around with us and hope you enjoy today's episode. So, Mitch, that Jags game last week, how we feeling?
Well, it was a game.
It was a game, yes.
It shows while the Jaguars were the better team going into that game as far as on paper, that the Seahawks can be a good team, and they've shown that they can be a good team, but for whatever reason the week before they just fell apart against Baker Mayfield, the defense specifically. And that's fair.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback, but at least this time the Seahawks defense put the most pressures on Trevor Lawrence that he's ever had in his entire career, so.
Yeah, something like 7 sacks. I can't remember the exact pressure numbers, but yeah, the fact that it was that many pressures is honestly kind of insane and a really, really good thing, given the fact that if you remember from last week, our no star of the week was the defense, if I remember correctly. The defense lost you that game last episode. But for the defense to, well, yes, your secondary was still getting dotted up, but again, on the secondary specifically, I'm willing to make a few excuses for the injuries. We had this whole talk last week. The defensive line, they showed up for you. They got the pressures on Trevor Lawrence, like you were saying. They got the sacks. They disrupted things. They made it really difficult for the Jaguars to move that damn football, which is really, really good to see that while one piece of your defense is struggling, the other part can still step up. It honestly makes it easier to be okay with the backups not performing quite as well when at least the other half of your defense is doing fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, and then you have Sam Darnold, JSN, still connecting like crazy. So
just the passing game in general, like the defense, the run wasn't all there this week. It wasn't atrocious, but it's still been a big sore point for the offense, I think, which is surprising given all the expectations surrounding this team going into this year. Like, we were confident that this team was going to do well, but we still had questions around the passing game with Sam Darnold, with some new receivers and new positions and things like that. But I feel like we were both pretty confident on the run game. We both were feeling, especially after preseason, that Zach Charbonnet and K9 were going to eat this year, and that hasn't really been the case going into Week 7, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, no, the only time they actually did really well was actually against one of the best run defenses in the league, which makes perfect sense, apparently.
It's so Seattle. It's so Seattle.
It, right?
Mariners get to Tarek Skubal twice in the postseason, and the Seahawks run defense does so well against the Seahawks run game does so well against the number 1 run defense. Ridiculous. Why?
Right.
Why do we choose this?
Tell me about it. But one other thing I do want to point out is we're through 6 weeks, and guess what? Gray Zabel still hasn't allowed a single pressure.
Dude is insane.
We're almost halfway through the season, and he still hasn't allowed a single pressure. 0.0% pressures.
Yeah, bro is going absolutely nuts.
We need to re-sign him. If we don't keep him,
yeah,
I'll still be a Seahawks fan, but Mike McDonald will be on the shit list right there.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That would be kind of a travesty, honestly, not gonna lie. So now we will move on to our stars of the week. Mitch, I'll have you start us off with your 3-star of the week for this Seahawks game.
It's got to be Sam Darnold and JSN, just connecting like crazy. There's not much to say other than JSN has literally gone from a top 10 to a top 5 to a top 3 to a to the number one wide receiver in the league in the span of 5 weeks. And yes, I know we're in week 6, but no one was talking about JSN after week 1. But
Yeah.
they started talking about him after week 2. So in the span of the last 5 weeks, last 5 games, I should say, he has gone from top 10, top 5, top 3, number 1.
Yeah, he's been absolutely nuts. It's been really, really cool to see JSN go crazy. Like, we all knew that he was going to have a breakout year, and to see him finally get his flowers and finally get his respect is really, really cool. Honestly, I think I would agree with Sam Darnold, JSN being my 3-star of the week. Excuse me. Honestly, you could argue just that offense as a whole was absolutely incredible. Yeah, I mean, honestly, what more is there to say? You know, it's Sam Darnold, it's JSN, it's AJ Barner, it's Cooper Kupp. I think he had a touchdown in this game, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe
he checked in.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, him and JSN were the only 2 receiving touchdowns this game. And that's awesome to see because Cooper Kupp has not scored a touchdown as a Seahawk yet. And he's been productive. He's been solid.
Yeah, this was his first touchdown of the season.
Yeah. So those sorts of things being really, really exciting to see. So, yeah, I would agree with you. Passing game as a whole is my 3-star of the week as well. Moving on into 2-star, this one's a little harder for me to pick, but I'm going to go with – we're going to stick on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm going to go with Gray Zabel, honestly. I mean, Sam Darnold, thankfully, didn't allow a single fumble, didn't allow a single interception, and as far as the fumble thing goes, like, that's a lot of that, I'm going to say, is Gray Zabel. We finally, as Seahawks fans, have a good offensive line to keep an eye on, which is so much fun.
So, it's funny that you say your 2-star is Gray Zabel because that's literally what I was thinking as well, is I was going to give my 2-star to Gray Zabel. He would be my 3-star, but it's Sam Darnold and JSN even though, like, the points don't show it, Sam Darnold and JSN went off in this game.
Yeah.
While they didn't get a lot of touchdowns out of it, they did get a lot of yards out of it.
I mean, Jesus, it's like JSN checked in for 162 yards this game. Sam Darnold had a total of 295 on 27 attempts, 16 completions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're going insane. And actually,
honestly, that's like also got to be Gray Zabel helping out. You know, he's pass blocking like crazy. I will say
Sam Darnold was sacked 1 time.
Yeah. And you know what side that came from? The right side. Not the left where Gray Zabel's at.
I'm ready for him to be a Seahawk for life. Now, moving on to my 1-star, which actually, I forgot. I gave the 2-star, I think. So, Mitch, go ahead and give us your 1-star.
Damn it, I was really hoping you'd go first on the 1-star.
Nope. I'm surprised. I feel like this is a really easy one for me.
It's not that easy for me. Like, I'm just gonna go with my 1-star would probably be the defense because they did well against a pretty good offense.
Yeah.
And also they really picked it up from last week.
Yeah.
Like they came back and actually showed that they do know how to be a defense and not be Swiss cheese.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So I'm gonna give my 1-star to defense.
That was going to be my 1-star as well. Specifically, I wanted to highlight the defensive linemen. Like you mentioned, Trevor Lawrence got so many pressures and so many sacks. And that's D-line. I wasn't watching this game all the way through. I don't remember if the Seahawks were blitzing necessarily, because that was something we talked about last week.
That's something I wanted to say. Yes, they were blitzing. And Mike McDonald, do you watch our podcast or something? Because you know what they mainly ran on defense? Zone blitzes.
And, okay, look, this is where I'm going to give Mike McDonald his flowers. Say what you will, people have their issues with him. I think the majority of Seahawks fans are pretty happy with him. But, like, he's played his role in some of these losses in these last couple of games. And so I want to give props to Mike McDonald and the whole defensive, coaching coordinator team for adapting. Recognizing that something wasn't working and not trying to beat a dead horse and, try and make it work. It's really positive to see that he was going more zone blitz than man and zone. So yeah, I mean, the Seahawks got a ton of pressure on Trevor Lawrence, and glad to hear that's partially from play calling as well. But yeah, I wanted to highlight the D linemen specifically. The D-backs, our secondary, still needs some work. Still could use some help. Still think I would be okay with parting with Reek Woolen. Not that he has been as frustrating, I don't think, from the first couple of weeks, but it does still feel like he feels good enough where I feel like we can upgrade for him, but he would be an upgrade for other teams. And so I think for the right package, it might be. I'm still kind of on team trade Woolen, but the rest of the defensive backs, they're getting there. Some of the tackling was better. Having Eamon Worry back this week was awesome. I think he was like one of the highest rated players on Pro Football Focus this week, which is awesome. Really, really good to have him back. And we do have an injury report for this upcoming Monday night game. They did do Thursday practice, and so we will I'll give the injury report a little later in this episode. But yeah, I want to shout out the defense. Really picked it up. Definitely some places to improve, but really picked it up and made this game, look more like a complete win versus just a one-sided, offense carried your back. So, all right, so let's move on into our no star of the week.
This
one's
all you,
pretty,
because I don't know.
I think you'll agree with me when I say mine. I'm gonna say the run game once again. You cannot have a run game have like 2 or 3 average yards per carry and say that you're a running offense. They don't really say that anymore. I think they've all kind of understood the fact that the passing game is what's been working with that Sam Darnold JSN connection, like we mentioned earlier. But this run defense really needs to figure it out. I don't know. Keep running behind Zabel or something. I'm not entirely sure what you do for success with that. I do appreciate the fact that they're not just giving up on the run game. They're still running the ball a fair, frequent amount of times, but it needed to be better for sure.
Yeah, I do agree. The no star would have to be run game.
Yeah, definitely need the run game to be better, to be way better in this game. Because, I mean, the Seahawks right now are 20th in the league with 104.2 rushing yards per game. The Texans, who have not been good this year, they're, if I'm not mistaken, yes, they're 2-3 right now. The Texans are 22nd in the league with 116.2 rushing yards per game. Like, these are both not very good running offenses. And so this is either going to be a passing slugfest, which it'd be kind of hard to call it a passing slugfest when the Texans are 31st in the league in passing yards per game, which is rough, especially considering the fact they have C.J. Stroud, who I do really love. The Seahawks, for the record, are 4th in passing yards per game. Like we said, that Sam Darnold JSN connection is going crazy. So is this going to be a passing shootout? Yeah, probably. And this could very well be a slugfest or be a blowout. I'm not going to say it's going to be, because the Texans did. I do believe they played better last week than they have been, or not last week before last, because the Texans are coming off a bye week. That is evidenced by the fact that their injury report only has 3 players versus the Seahawks having half their fucking roster. Now, looking into some of the other stats, Seahawks are 5th in points per game through the first 6 weeks, going into Week 7. The Texans are 28th in points per game going into Week 7. Now, sacks, Seahawks are 3rd, which is surprising given the fact that they haven't been pressuring very much. But to be fair, they have 20 sacks on the year so far, which is obviously hugely helped by the 7 that they had last week. The Texans are 20th in the league with 12 sacks. So, this is really the opportunity, I think, for that right side of the D-line or the right side of the O-line to kind of work on what they've been struggling with. This could be a very, very much a get-right game for them. Same thing for the secondary. With the Texans' passing attack not being very lethal, but they also don't really seem to run the ball all that much, at least as far as yards are concerned. I can't really see attempts on here, unfortunately. This could be the opportunity for, this is a good game. There are going to be some guys who might be coming back this week from injury, and this might be one of those games where you get to kind of get right. But again, don't sleep on C.J. Stroud. He's a very, very dangerous quarterback, and he will punish you if you let him punish you. But yeah, so do you have any thoughts going into this Texan game before I throw the injury report at you?
Mainly, just like I also think this is a get right game for that right side of the O-line. But again, also defense, don't sleep on C.J. Stroud. The super interesting thing about this game is C.J. Stroud and JSN are reuniting. Now, granted, they play on the same side of the ball, so they won't actually play against each other. But hey, Sam Darnold, let's see how you connect with JSN. Are you as good at connecting with JSN as C.J. Stroud was at Ohio State?
After the game, if you can talk shop with C.J. Stroud too, and just see if you can get any tips from him as well. Not that you really need them because the connection has been so insane. That would be nice too.
just a quick interesting fact about it was JSN and C.J. Stroud put on a pretty interesting Rose Bowl performance apparently.
Oh really?
JSN set Rose Bowl records with 347 receiving yards on 15 receptions and 3 touchdowns.
That's insane. Wow. Yeah, they had one hell of a connection.
And Stroud threw for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns. Wow. Over half of his yards were to JSN, and half of his touchdowns were to JSN.
I honestly, you know what? I could see Sam Darnold and JSN's connection being like that. They've had one hell of a connection for sure. So
yeah, I definitely could. But that's crazy. That's at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, so that's pretty insane. It'll be cool to see those guys. I'm sure they're hyped up to face each other. So it's gonna be a fun game, I think. Especially since when looking at the injury report, things are looking a little bit better for a few of these Seahawks. Unfortunately, Derek Hall did not practice. He did not participate in Thursday practice. Now they will, obviously they'll still practice the next couple of days, which we won't have that report for this episode, unfortunately. But maybe we'll keep an eye on the TikTok. I like to try and update the injury report kind of more regularly. Moving on to the rest, tackle Josh Jones. He was limited in practice today, as was DeMarcus Lawrence, Julian Love, Pritchett, our corner. They were all limited practice, along with Leonard Williams and Devin Witherspoon. So some of those guys that we've been really hurting for, like Julian Love, like Witherspoon, and some of the guys that are really crucial to this team, like Lawrence, like Leonard Williams. Limited participation at least. So we'll keep an eye on that moving into the rest of this week. Jaron Reed was full participation in practice this week, as was Reek Woolen. So some guys that we've been kind of pining for, kind of needing, they are still in the injury report, but at least limited. So maybe we'll see how they're feeling going into Monday. They have some time, thankfully. So yeah. I think this is going to be a fun game. I think this is going to be a real opportunity for the run game and for the passing defense to really kind of tweak some things and get right. This is a get right game for a bunch of those pieces of the team, but this is also not a game where you can sleep at the wheel. You cannot let your foot off the gas. This is a team that will punish you if they get the opportunity. All right, so moving on to or at least one of my favorite parts of the week, the power rankings. Mitch, you're over there with our power rankings from Mr. Schwab of Yahoo Sports, I presume?
Yep, I got it pulled up here.
All right, so as per usual, I'm assuming we're going to start with our top 5 of the week.
Yep. Who do you think are the top 5 teams on the Yahoo Sports power rankings according to Frank Schwab?
I am going to have a bold prediction here.
Okay.
But you'll have to wait. I think it's tough. I didn't really pay attention around the league this week, so this is not going to be one of my better weeks for guessing power rankings. I'm going to say Lions number 1, Bills number 2. The problem is I can't remember if the Lions won or lost their game this week. I think they won. I don't know. Lions 1, Bills number 2. We'll say Colts number 3, Rams number 4, and you know what? Fuck it, we ball. I'm going to put the Seahawks at number 5. I do have a reasoning for that. I'll be honest. It's not just me being like all hopeful, but go ahead and give me the answers on how this week went.
Okay, so just to reiterate, you said Lions number 1. Who was
Yes.
number 2? Bills?
Bills, yes.
Bills number 2, Colts number 3, Rams 4, and then Seahawks 5.
Yes.
Oh, buddy.
I told you I didn't really pay attention around the league this week, so I have no idea where I'm at.
You got 3 out of 5 teams in the top 5. You got one team exactly correct on where they're at in the top 5.
Rough.
So I'll start from number 5. Unfortunately, it is not the Seahawks. That is not the one team you got right.
Hey, look, I did see on Twitter today that NFL's power rankings do have the Seahawks at number 3, so I was high on their power rankings. Okay, I'm sorry.
The NFL is a little bit different, but we've been using Yahoo Sports. We're sticking with it now.
Yep.
No, Frank Schwab has the Denver Broncos at number 5.
What? They looked awful. They barely beat the Jets.
Well,
Schwab, what are you smoking, bro?
He also
like with all respect, I love this guy and I really really appreciate his power rankings. But like, brother, what are you seeing?
He also moved them up from number 6, so they moved up from 6th to 5th this week.
Who was 6th or who was 5th last week? Like who did he? It's a. Oh wow. Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, the Denver Broncos are 5th.
Mm-hmm.
The Bills, while you did have them in the top 5, are actually 4th.
Wow. Okay.
They moved down from 2, so they were 2 last week. They moved to 4th this week.
Did they lose?
Yes.
Oh.
They lost to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that'll drop you a couple spots.
So yeah, and they only dropped a couple spots. They dropped from 2nd to 4th.
To be fair, Atlanta has looked like a better team the last couple of weeks, so okay.
And then the team that you got exactly right are the Colts at number 3. They moved up from 5th.
Cool.
They are a 5-1 team right now, so.
Yeah, they're one of the better teams of the league. I'm starting to believe.
The Lions you had at number 1 are actually number 2, and they moved down from number 1 last week because they did lose.
All right, who's number 1? This is gonna piss me off.
Probably. No, I don't think it'll piss you off. I think you'll be okay with it. It's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh. Yeah, okay, they deserve it. Baker Mayfield's MVP this year, so yeah, okay.
So what Frank Schwab had to say about the number 1 team, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are the Buccaneers the best team in the NFL? Probably not. They have had an unsustainable run in close games, but they keep winning games, which isn't the case for just about everyone else, and eventually they're going to improve as they get healthier.
Yeah, okay. Just for shits and giggles, can you read me the Broncos?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'll read you the Broncos one real quick. Denver is a good team, but its offense needs to get better. The only reason everyone wasn't focused on the Broncos' offensive problems is that the Jets' offense was more hideous. The Broncos can win the AFC West, but not if the offense doesn't find more consistency. On to the bottom 3 teams, who is 32, 31, and 30.
32 is easy. It's got to be the Jets. 30. Oh shit. Yeah.
Okay.
31 is gonna be.
Go ahead.
31 is gonna be the Titans. And I'm torn between the Saints and the Dolphins.
To give you a hint, 32, 31, and 30 from last week, if you remember last week, did not change at all.
So it's going to be Titans, Jets, and Saints.
No.
Fuck.
It is 32.
All right, I'll call myself out. I didn't watch our last episode. My bad.
32 is the Jets, 31 is the Titans, 30 is the Dolphins.
I'm going to crash out.
The 0-6 team, the 1-5 team, and the 1-5 team.
I second guess myself.
Yeah. You weren't entirely wrong, though. The Saints are 29th.
So annoying. It's the same 4 teams every year. But will I get this right next week? Probably not.
All right,
Probably
and
not.
then forgot what to read about the Jets real quick because they're the 32nd
Negative
team.
10 yards. Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Yeah, literally. Did you pass for any yards this week? No. Okay, then you passed more than the Jets did.
Yeah.
But
it was
that's not
so
what
bad.
Frank Schwab has to say. That's what I had to say. What Frank Schwab has to say is Justin Fields led an offense that had negative 10 net passing yards. He took 9 sacks, and on most of them, he held the ball too long. The Jets are broken, and Fields' play is a big reason. He had a great opportunity, and he's showing he's not an NFL starting quarterback.
He looked good in preseason. I was excited. I like Justin Fields. I think he's a decent quarterback, but I'm starting to question if he's a starter. Yeah, I feel
That's
that.
fair. Okay, something that I'm going to do this week. The next opponent, the previous opponent, and then the Seahawks.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be in that order, but that's the teams I'm going to have you guess.
Yeah. Well, moving on to the Seahawks, I think they're top 10.
Okay.
Knowing Schwab, I feel like he's going to put them at, let's say, 7.
Okay. And then
Um,
Texans.
the Texans, I think, are going to be 25th. And
Okay.
the Jaguars, I think, are going to be 11. No. We'll say 10.
Okay. Unfortunately, you didn't get any of them right.
Am I close?
Actually, yeah, on all of them, you are pretty close.
That's so annoying. Okay, go
So
ahead.
I'll start with the Jaguars because they were our previous opponent.
Yep.
You said 11th. They're actually 14th.
Okay, damn.
He did drop them all the way from 8th to 14th after losing to us. What he had to say about the Jaguars was, the Jaguars lost at home, but it was to a good Seahawks team. Some things looked good. Trevor Lawrence played well, and the run defense was very good. The Jaguars will be good, just maybe a step short of elite.
Yeah, okay. I feel like 14's a little low, but
I
that
was gonna say,
assessment of them I think is fair.
usually after reading his reasoning, I'm like, okay, I get why he put him at that spot. His reasoning seems still
Like,
too
to me,
far
that
of a
sounds-
drop.
To me, that sounds like an 10 place team.
Yeah, from 8th to like 10th or 11th. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Okay.
And then
What do you say about the Seahawks?
the Seahawks are, again, you said they were 7th. They're 9th, so you were very
Okay.
close. They jumped up from 14th to 9th. He said, the Seahawks are good. They thoroughly outplayed a Jaguars team that was 4-1 and coming off a win over the Chiefs. The Seahawks are the only team to rank in the top 4 of DVOA on offense, defense, and special teams. And given injuries to the Rams and 49ers, Seattle is in a good place.
That's awesome. So, for those listeners, because I know you, Mitch, and me, like, I know we have a lot of friends who might listen to this podcast. Real quick, I just want to explain what DVOA means. So that is essentially a, like, averaging stat. Essentially what it means is if you're at 0, you're an average team. If you're above 0, you're an above average team. If you're below, you're a below average team. So, being ranked in like the top 4 in DVOA, you're a top 4 team across the board. That's pretty awesome. So awesome to hear. And yeah, I'd never heard of that stat before, and so I figured a lot of you people who especially don't watch sports might not have heard of that. So that's what that means. But yeah, really good to hear. Honestly, I feel confident that if we can beat the Texans, we'll probably end up next week in like 7 or 6.
Yeah.
6, 7.
Anyway.
Leave that
And then
in,
the
fucker.
the Texans were the team you were probably was the team you were the furthest wrong on, essentially. You put them
Yeah.
at 25th. Unfortunately, you had them too low, according to Frank Schwab. He has
Were
them
they,
at
like,
20th. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
They
I
did
mean,
drop
fair.
from 18th to 20th, so they did
On
drop
that
2
bye week,
spots.
that's
but-
rough.
Right? So, he had this to say. He said, how good has the Texans' defense been? Houston is allowing 12.2 points per game. Since the 1970 merger, the only teams at or better than that mark are the 2000 Ravens, 1986 Bears, 2000 Titans, and 1978 Steelers. If the offense comes around, the Texans could get on a roll.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game. So, yeah, I think that is about going to do it for the Seahawks portion of this podcast. Mitch, do you have anything to say before we round out this section? Move on to our Seattle Mariners.
So let's fucking score more than 12.2 points.
Please, and let the run game go a little bit. So, all right, well, that is the Seahawks. Let's move on to Cross Occidental and talk about your Seattle Mariners.
Oh boy.
It's been up and down. Last episode, I think we were in the middle of the ALDS. I can't remember if we had clinched the ALCS by that point.
We had not.
I don't.
We were going into Game 4 last we talked.
Yeah, so a lot to catch up on there. Obviously, they made it to the ALCS, so they lost Game 4. They won Game 5 against Tarek Skubal, the best pitcher in baseball.
And also, mind you, 15 freaking innings.
Yes.
Come on, Mariners. Let's just give me a fucking heart attack. One inning after another.
How could I forget to mention that this Mariners team went 15 innings? Yeah, it was an insane game. Jorge Polanco was clutch, and he was clutch all ALDS, frankly. And so the Mariners earned the right to go to Toronto and play to see who is going to face, who is likely going to be the Dodgers at the time of recording this. So they are 3-0 up on the NLCS. Yeah, you get the opportunity to go to Toronto, and Toronto gets home field advantage. They had the better record, and see who's going to the World Series to represent the AL. And a lot of people did not expect them to win Game 1. The Blue Jays had thoroughly beaten the Yankees, so they got a couple extra days off. And the Mariners, they just got done with a 15-inning game. They're gassed because they went 5 games in the ALDS. Also, their plane was delayed going from Seattle to Toronto. So just a lot of reasons people were thinking this Mariners team is likely not going to perform great. And thankfully we were wrong. They swept the Blue Jays in Toronto, going up 2-0 on the series, with some great offensive production, and the pitching was elite in those 2 games. Unfortunately, we then go into last night, and fresh on our minds tonight, games 3 and 4 of the ALCS now being played in Seattle. They will play game 5 in Seattle. I think that's going to be Friday, if you want to check that. And the offense has not shown up, and the pitching has, frankly, excuse my language here, cover your ears if you're a little kid, the pitching has shat the bed, frankly. It has been kind of atrocious. The Blue Jays, I think they won from a score of 15-3 last night, and then won again tonight, 8-4 or something like that. It's been pretty lopsided in the Blue Jays' favor because the pitching has just allowed hit after hit, and they homered 4 times in Game 3. It's been ridiculous, frankly. It's been really frustrating.
And yes, the Mariners and the Blue Jays will be playing at the Mariners tomorrow, Friday, September 17th. And then they'll get a break, and then Sunday they'll be going back to Toronto.
So hopefully going into Game 6, hopefully the Mariners can pull one out tomorrow, go into Game 6 with 3-1 on the series. That totally changes the game, or with 3-2 on the series. That totally changes the game. But it's scary. It's nerve-wracking. The offense has been atrocious. The pitching has been atrocious at home, where we had the best record. But to be fair, the Blue Jays coming into the ALCS were 4-0 at home again, or 3-0 I think at home versus the Seattle Mariners. They had their number at home going into this postseason, and yes, now they're 5-0, which is really frustrating. But the Mariners have also performed better than the Blue Jays at Rogers Stadium, meaning that if this game goes to Game 6 and goes to Game 7, who knows? Who knows what the Mariners can do? This team has earned the benefit of the doubt, frankly. The last couple of games, frustrating as hell. Really frustrating to see them floundering and feel like they're not really trying. But to be fair, on today's game, Game 4, you had Max Scherzer looking like he was a Washington National again. Dude was pitching like crazy. And so, yeah, the offense struggled. I can only really blame them so far. Yes, I still expect more run from them because this is a postseason offense, but what killed you this game was the pitching. And that's what killed you last game, too. When you put these games out of reach, yeah, it's going to be rough. You had Hancock finishing out the game because there was just no point. Like, why waste Andres Munoz? You already burned Bizardo, Spire, and Brash. You may as well save your all-star for tomorrow's game, which is going to be extremely important. I think tomorrow's game, a lot of people were calling this game a must-win. I didn't totally agree. Like, I would have preferred to have won it. But tomorrow's game, Game 5, is absolutely a must-win.
And we fucking won!
But it's also possible to look at this as a new series. It's no longer a best of 7. It's best of 3. Like, you're just in a normal series. You just happen to be going to Toronto for the last 2 games. Yeah, I mean, I will say Naylor has looked really good this series. He was really cold in the ALDS. It looks like having the kid has really just awoken him, thankfully. He hit a home run and I think a double or a single. He did get thrown out at third, which was really frustrating, but I don't know. It's a small drop in the bucket at the end of the day with this game. Yeah, this game in particular was extremely frustrating, Game 4, but I still have confidence in this team. Yeah, Mitch, I know we watched the end of today's Game 4 together, but do you have any thoughts overall on the Seattle Mariners?
It's literally how I feel about both teams is like, why are you playing so well in each other's stadium and not in your own fucking stadium? Like, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm glad the Mariners 100% beat the Blue Jays in Blue Jays Stadium. But, like, why Blue Jays, could you also just play that bad in our stadium as well? And Mariners,
Please.
could you please play that good in your own stadium?
Yeah, I mean, like last week, like I said in the beginning of this episode, like, kind of feels like deja vu just kind of flipped on its head where, it's still a roller coaster of a week. I could very easily title this roller coaster of a week again, and it would be true. But this time it's the Seahawks on the up and the Mariners on the down. And hopefully the Mariners can come up and the Seahawks can keep coming up. That's all I want to see. I just want to see Seattle sports do well. The Kraken have been doing solid, by the way. I know we're not a Kraken podcast, but they've been doing well, which is cool. Fun to see. That is going to do it for us here at the 12th Inning Podcast. Thank you guys again so much for listening to episode 7. If you could do all the podcasty things like we ask every week, the likes, the ratings, the comments, and all that jazz. We really, really like the comments, frankly. It's fun to interact with you guys. That's been honestly one of my favorite parts of doing the TikToks recently, which make sure, like I mentioned earlier in this episode, to follow us on TikTok at 12th Inning Podcast. We're also on Twitter if that's more your jam. Trying to be a bit active on the socials to have a bit more regular interaction with you guys. That's where, we're doing updated injury reports and things like that. So if that sounds of interest to you, check that out as well. We'd love to see you over on there. But without further ado, I'm Rich, this is Mitch, and we're the 12th Inning Podcast. And like we always say, Trident's up, go Mariners.
And go Hawks.